Hello, Scorpio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whenever you come across this reading, I hope everyone is staying safe. How are y'all doing today? It is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, however you want to put it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. To new viewers, cross watchers, come on in, take what resonates, okay? Leave the rest for someone else. Reverse the roles, how they fit in your life. I don't know your life, okay? But please make sure you reverse the roles. I need you to stay with me. There are lessons, blessings, and confirmations all in my readings, okay? I love you guys. Let's get started and see what's coming towards you, my beautiful Scorpios. Spirit guides, divine universe, I ask you give me clarity, understanding. Most of all, I need your divine protection. This is for Scorpio. Let's see what's in the energy for Scorpio. Let's see what's going on. Okay. So what we got here, the first card is failure. Next card is intuition. Your next card is confusion. And next card is balance. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's see. Happiness. One more. And fear. Bottom of the card is gratitude. Okay. So, Scorpio. I feel like sometimes some of you suffer from being hard on yourself. I really feel as though that you really put a lot of, you really put a lot in your head. It's like if you don't accomplish something, you feel like you're a failure at it. Or if it's because if something didn't work out, you feel like you failed at it. We might all have failed at something that we did not, that things just did not work out. But does that mean that we beat ourselves up and we burn our brain cells out thinking about what we did or saying to ourselves that we're a failure because something didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to turn out? Does that make us a failure? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I feel as though that you have two very negative cards in this energy. And these two cards is failure and fear. The two F's. I don't like those cards. I don't. I don't like those cards. I'm allergic to negative energy. I'm allergic to it. Now, I'm not perfect, not saying that, I may have my thoughts as well sometimes. It's very not often. But I'm allergic to negative energy. So I feel like you're really beating yourself up with the way that you're thinking, the way that your mind is, because you have confusion here. It's like you're really telling yourself these things. You're telling yourself these things. And when you tell yourself these things, you are what you think. Do you understand that? I don't know if some of you knew that, but what you think is what you become. Okay? It's beginning to already festive in your mind, in your brain right here. So I feel as though that you are really being hard on yourself. And like I said, I don't like those cards. You have the intuition here. You're very highly intuitive. But when you have your days of beating yourself up, boy, do you have your days of beating yourself up. You're very intuitive. You want happiness. You have happiness. You have balance in your life. Some of you have happiness and balance in your life. You see things for what they really are. But you also in a state of mind of some negative energy. And Spirit God said it's time to reprogram your mind. It's time for you to change this perception of yourself. Because as long as you keep telling yourself you're a failure, just because something did not work out, it doesn't make you a failure. Just because you fall on the ground and get hurt, did you stop? You check it out and you get up and you keep pushing. You think of a different way to do it, a different way to go about it. Does that make you a failure? Is what I'm saying. No, it doesn't make you a failure. So you have put in your mind, you have really, I mean, you're very confused. You're really pressing this in your thoughts. And your thoughts can definitely consume you because you feel like a failure. You feel like, you didn't accomplish what it was that you accomplished. Did you ever stop and think that that wasn't what you supposed to have been doing? You may have thought that was your purpose, but it wasn't. It's something else for you to do. Is it that just because that relationship didn't work out, does that make you a failure? No. Have you ever thought any time at one time that that person just wasn't for you? Did you ever think that that person, you were putting too much energy into the wrong person? Did you ever think that? Or are you still thinking that you was a failure because it did not become successful? Have you ever stopped to look and see, look and think why it was not successful? Or you already put it in your mind that you're a failure because it did not work out? No. There's many definitions of failure. There are a few, I want to say. It's how you perceive it, it's how you take it. In this situation, you're confused. Fear, failure, failure, fear, fear, failure, failure, fear. Confused. Because you think it was you. You think it's because it didn't work out was because of you. Now, we all have to partake in something. It takes two. But at the same time, does that make you a failure? No. It means this is something else for you. It means it was a learning lesson that you need to learn from that and move on. You didn't fail, it failed. You didn't fail, it failed. You put energy into something that was not going to blossom in the first place. You didn't fail, it failed. You was trying to build something with someone that it did not work with because that is not the person you're supposed to build with in the first place. You didn't fail, it failed. I don't know who you are today, but Scorpio, I'm here to tell you, honey, I need you to change your perception of what failure is. I need you to redefine that. I need you to redefine because you're definitely confused about it. You're blaming and you putting all kind of thoughts in your head, and you taking a blame for it all. When it really in reality, you didn't fail, it failed. So if this was a connection that you started to see things for what it was, and you're blaming yourself because you are very intuitive. If you're blaming yourself because you should have foreseen it, or why didn't you catch on to it earlier, and you're beating your consciousness up, you're about to fry your brain in confusion. If you because you're so intuitive, and you yeah, and you thought it was leaving you to happiness, and you thought it was leaving you to balance. And because it did not work out, and because it did not go with the way that you wanted it to, you see yourself as a failure. Is it because as a child or as growing into your adulthood, you always try to satisfy people. You always try to wanted to do your best at proving yourself to mama, daddy, uncle, sister, brother, grandma. You was trying to do your best to prove yourself to people. And because you did not prove the way you wanted to prove, you did not get their approval, that's when you felt like you was a failure. But that does not mean that. It's because some of you was brought up where you had to prove yourself to people. And if it did not come out, you beat yourself up with your consciousness and made yourself feel like you were a failure. That comes from something that's internal. That comes from something that was grown in you as a child, as growing up into your adulthood. Because If it wasn't to their second satisfaction, if it wasn't to whoever's satisfaction, it would make you feel like you failed. And it wasn't you that failed, it was it that failed. It wasn't you that failed, it was it that failed. You did what you supposed to done. You poured into this relationship. You poured into this ideal, whatever it was that you done. You did your work. You did it. But that doesn't make you a failure. But because you have had to prove yourself for so many years as a child and up, everything that you do, everything you touch, if it's not in the way that you want it, that you feel like a failure. And it caused a lot of confusion, a lot of controversy within yourself. And then you start to question yourself, am I deserving of happiness? Do I deserve the balance of love and happiness in my life? What am I doing wrong? Why did this thought fail? I love this person. I did all I can do with this person. Did you ever stop to think that you were with the wrong person? Did you ever stop to think that that was not your purpose? There is something else for you. Did you ever think that? Did you ever think that you were too much for somebody? Did you ever think that? Did you ever stop to think that? You didn't fail, it failed. Let's get deeper into this. Let's see what's going on with you, Scorpio. Spirit guys, talk to me. This is for Scorpio. Yeah, it was time to end. It was over. It was over. You didn't fail. It ran its course. I don't know who you are today, but you're not a failure. It just ran its course. It was time. It was done. It was time for it to be over. It wasn't. That was the end of that. It was the end of that. It was over. Okay? It has ran its course. Yes. You're in a new timeline. That is over. It has ran its course. Out with the old, in with the new. Do you ever stop and think about that? It ended. People are not meant to stay in your life. Some people are meant to stay in your life. Some people are just meant to cross your path and leave and it's a learning experience. Some people are just passing by. But just this is the death card and the world card. Out with the old, in with the new. It ran its course, sweetheart. You was not a failure. It failed. That means that it was over. The time have ran out. It was done. You in a new timeline. That's an old chapter. Old chapter. Did you ever think about that? I bet you didn't. And the whole time you was beating yourself up. You was being so hard on yourself. And you was thinking that you were the problem. Even all the way down to your childhood of proving yourself. 1333, 333 just came up on my phone. Even down to trying to prove yourself to everybody. And when you didn't, you thought you were the problem. No, the problem was you was too busy trying to please other people. And you was worried about what other people thought, what they would say, or the things that they would do, or what they would say. I don't care if it's mama or daddy. That's where the confusion came in at. Because you was too busy trying to please somebody else and worried about what other people would think. And it put you in a state of fear. Because you didn't know what they was thinking. Or what was going to be said. But I feel like a lot of you started to see people for who they were. And you said, I don't care what you think or what you say. I'm going towards my happiness and my balance. And I'm going to balance my life. You're in a new chapter. It just ran its course. It was over. You didn't fail. It failed. You wasn't meant to be in that person's life. No longer than what it's supposed to. It ran its course. Did you ever stop to think that you were just with the wrong person? You tried your best to make it work. You tried your best to show this person you love them. You tried your best to show this job that you was interested. You tried your best to do what you were asked to do. You tried. And then when it didn't work out, you started beating yourself up. You started telling yourself you're a failure. You actually started speaking a lot of things into your life. That's why it was causing you confusion. But it ran its course. And now you're in a new world, new beginnings, new things are coming towards you. Your mind is about to be clutter free. Your consciousness is about to be clutter free. No more of this thinking that you're a failure because something doesn't work out. We reverse this failure card into fearless. Reverse this fear card into fearless. I'm not a failure. I am an opportunity. I am an opportunity. I have many opportunities. Thank you, Spirit Guides. My goodness, what was that card? Hold on, let me get this card. So you got the strength card, gaining a lot of strength. And it made you very angry with the temperance in reverse. You were very angry, confused, hurt, beating yourself up. But you gain a lot of strength. Okay, you learn how to tame yourself. You begin to see things for what they really were. And you realize you're not the problem. You were never the problem. But you always had to prove yourself to somebody. You wanted people's approval. And because you didn't get an approval, whether it was relationships or business or just your family, your friends, you always wanted approval. And when you didn't get it, you felt like you was a failure. When in fact, you was not the failure. You're not the problem. You did not fail. It failed. That means that the people in your life failed you. Oh my goodness, don't get me started. The people in your life failed you, but they wanted to reverse it on you to make you feel like you failed them and that you had to prove something to them. And if you didn't, that means that you failed them because you was looking for approval through people, places, connections, family, friends, mama, daddy, uncle, sister, brother, whoever. And when the whole fact is that you was not the failure. They failed. They failed you. You see how life has a way of messing with your mind, juggling your mind, having you all over the place and confused. How people have put things into your mind from a child up to adult and made you think one way because you felt like you had to prove everything to someone, and if not, you failed. No, when in fact the people that said these things to you or made you feel this way, they were the ones that failed you. My goodness. They failed you. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. Even in a connection, this person failed you because they did not put in the energy that you put into this. Did you ever stop and think about that? It's how you perceive things. Before you start to inject this into your head, I need you to change your perspective on how you see you. That's what Spirit Guides are saying. And I feel like a lot of you started to see your family, your friends, connections for who they really were. And it made you angry for a lot of many years. It made you very angry. But you had begun to see that it was a lot of confusions. You was indecisive on your life. Your life, you were your decisions was not clear. Your whole life was like, if I do this, can I prove this? If I don't do this, if I do this, can I prove this? If I don't, will I? You was like this all your life. Now you have found balance. Now you have found balance. Now you have found happiness within yourself and realizing I'm not a failure. Because it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. It doesn't mean that I'm a failure. And you transformed, you ended that way of thinking. Not only that, It just ran its course. Now you're in a new cycle. That page has turned. You're in a new chapter. Spirit guides, tell me more. King of Wands, you're sitting on your throne. You're a king now. You've accomplished a lot in your life. Any other message for Scorpio? Thank you. Yeah, you followed your heart and you realized people was treating you less than and making you feel that way because you're a kind, loving person. You're a motherly energy, and people was making you feel that way. They were making you feel. They were putting that in your head ever since you were small, about 10 years old. That's where it comes from. That's where it starts from an early age. Yeah. And you lay and you think about it, and you said, oh no, I'm waiting on something, waiting on someone that is going to match my energy, that's going to be just right for me. Yeah, you're waiting. You're not in a rush because this last person tried to make it seem like that you failed them when in fact you did what you had to do. And so your chin up and your chest out and you ready to take on a new adventure. And you said, I'm not a failure. I'm an opportunity. I am an opportunity. I am not fearless. I'm not fear. I am fearless. And you moved on and you moved away and you said, I would not take the blame for something somebody else did not want to do. I am Positive Thoughts and Energy, Scorpio. Until next time.